Hello,
Hi,
how are
Yeah, they're
you?
both here, Phil. Yep.
and things new.
I'm great, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's just a
So sorry, can you say that again?
it's just a pleasure.
Oh, no, it's lovely to have you. It really is. Um, is Tashandu joining us as well today, or is it just you?
Hi, I'm here.
Oh, hello. Sorry, I can't see you on the. Oh, there we go. Sorry, I'm
Okay.
so sorry if I've got that name wrong.
No, you got it right, actually.
Oh, great. Well, that's a good start. Thank you. Well, first of all, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for submitting your talk synopsis. I think it was so great, and I'm so pleased that we've got a student voice here at this session, just given what we're talking about. So I've got a couple of questions. So I was looking at kind of the talk synopsises that you submitted, and I was going to say, if to kick things off, maybe could you tell us a bit about your assignment and how AI came into the picture?
Okay, so starting with the microbiology assignment we did, we literally looked at microorganisms and then the sensitivity and the resistance it had against certain antibiotics. And then literally with all the observations and the information that we literally gathered in practical class, we could enter that into AI, and then AI confirmed what we expected the microorganism was and what the sensitivity and the inhibition and the inhibitions were. So that was quite interesting to see how our information and our findings, even though obviously AI was not with us in practical class, but like literally used all our findings and like confirmed what we thought it was. So that was actually really interesting.
That's great, thank you. And so, kind of, what made you think, okay, actually, I'm going to try using ChatGTP for this over? I mean, it was ChatGTP that you were using, wasn't it? Or did you use another tool?
No, I definitely use ChatGPT, and the reason for that was literally my professor. He actually came with the idea, okay, but like use ChatGPT, see how AI actually can be essential and can be used not to substitute a person or to substitute somebody's information, but literally just to assist with it, to improve it, to confirm it. So that was like really interesting to see how AI can actually be used in academic methods. That was really interesting.
Oh, that's great. And was that the same for you, Shandu?
No, it's not the same for me. I had a very opposite experience with AI because I used Meta AI. Um, uh, the the organism that I saw under the microscope was Enterococcus faecalis, but because my catalase was a weak positive, AI said that it's Staphylococcus aureus, which is not true because even Enterococcus faecalis can actually be a weak positive. Just because of the weak positive catalase, it was misinterpreted because the interpretation from the AI was actually saying that it is Staphylococcus aureus.
Great. And for those of you that might not know kind of what the assignment is, this is a bioscience module. Is that correct?
Yes, it's a microbiology module. We did with the same assignment, same as Chanel, but my results were actually different because the organisms that were there were actually different organisms that we were actually like performing crème staining and looking under the microscope, the sensitivity, and also the antibiotic tests that we made on those organisms.
Okay, thank you. And kind of while I have you to Shandu, was there a moment that you thought that there was kind of that click moment where you thought, actually, this AI is really helping me, or did you find that it didn't really help you?
Yes, it really did help me because it made me to actually go out there and look for other sources to actually see if the catalase for that organism can actually be positive, or maybe I'm the one who made a mistake or there was contamination while I was doing that. And I actually found out that the AI was correct with the Staphylococcus aureus, but not with what I saw under the microscope.
And was that the same for you as well, Chanel, or was it different?
Well, AI literally confirmed what we expected the microorganism was. It just had different, let's say, inhibition zones of inhibitions. It literally just had different zones of inhibitions, but like literally the conclusion and the microorganism, all of those important information was actually the same. So it wasn't that I was wondering, okay, but like, did I do something wrong? Do I need to go and check something? Do I need to repeat the process? Like, it literally just confirmed what I thought. It just elaborated on the inhibition zones just to say, okay, but like maybe just with the when you did the preparation of the petri dish, maybe just with that you could have done it more properly, or you could have done it this way. But like in overall, it actually just confirmed. So it was really helpful.
That's really interesting, actually. Thank you. And yeah, okay. So kind of moving on from that one, I think there's a lots of discussion kind of across the sector, across everywhere, that kind of, and this isn't just for students, I think this is for everyone using it, that maybe we've become over reliant on it and we won't be able to do without it. Do you think that there's a risk that students might rely on AI too much? How do you make sure that you're kind of still doing the majority of the thinking yourself? Tashandu, do you want to start with that one?
Oh, I was studying. I think that students do really rely on AI, even if the AI is not actually correct or accurate. They actually take those results and actually write them, because they start doubting themselves instead of going to other sources and actually finding the information, because AI is not always accurate and reliable.
So with that in mind, how would you then kind of take those results? So when you say, you know, because you used it to confirm what you thought you already knew, if you think that it's not that reliable, do you then fact check what it says, or do you think actually I was pretty sure before that and now it's confirmed it, I'm not going to go any further? Or I was just wondering how you went about that.
How I went about that, I actually went to other sources and to actually see if what I did was correct. But most of the time, majority of the time, that microorganism is actually negative for that test, but it can be positive. So AI was not entirely inaccurate or unreliable, just that it's not normal for that organism to actually, majority of time, it's actually negative for that. So because it was positive for that, it concluded that it was not the same microorganism.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
Yes.
I'm going to ask one more question, if that's okay. And then if you'd like to ask a question, just raise your hand. I could see, Janet, you've raised your hand, so we'll allow you to ask a question afterwards if you'd still like to. But we'd like to try and keep the time if that's possible. So kind of, do you think kind of in your experience of it, it's clearly been helpful to you in terms of kind of how you've used it in your work? Do you think it's changed the way that you have worked before? And do you think you'll continue to adapt using AI in other ways, or will you just keep to use it as a confirmation as what you think you might already know?
Well, I truly believe that AI has a lot to offer us, and we literally just saw a drop in the ocean of what it actually can. So I believe in future reference, I will be able to use AI for many different reasons, not just to confirm what I think is the answer to certain things.
Yes.
And is that the same with you, Tashandu?
Yes, sir.
Great, thank you. Janet, would you like to ask a question?
Yes, thank you. It's just also from South Africa. I've been involved in our university's policy or guideline development on the ethical use of AI. But I just wanted it's been a general comment I wanted to make, listening to a lot of presenters with this overlap of plagiarism and AI use. And I just wanted to point out, and this is something, from working with a legal team involved in drafting our guidelines, that's been very clear that plagiarism, AI use in itself does not constitute plagiarism, because generative AI lacks the capacity for intellectual responsibility and accountability. So first of all, students need to realize they can't reference it as a co-author. And also just to be careful, because we've seen some of the policies coming up here today referring to it. We have actually got a separate document. It isn't in our plagiarism document for that very reason, because you can't give it, you cannot give it any intellectual responsibility. And so people, we have to be very clear that students realize the onus is on them to fact check, make sure that they are not using information from a large language model, generative AI, without checking that everything it says is they need to check it's accurate, and they need to check that they're not the words of somebody else, or the ideas. And so just to make that distinction from a legal point of view between plagiarism and giving it, because otherwise you're giving it intellectual responsibility and accountability, which it doesn't possess. Thank you.
Thanks, Janet. And yeah, I think that's something that Shandu was saying that she did do with kind of her work. She almost fact checked it afterwards as well, just to confirm it. But if anyone else has any questions for Chanel or to Shandu, if you'd like to keep your hand up, if we can try to keep questions to these two, if that's okay, just for now. Shamil, I'm going to, sorry if I've got that wrong. You should be able to unmute your mic. Okay, we might be experiencing a few problems there. I think in the interest of keeping to time, and kind of, I know that you two are both extremely busy, we'll probably kind of move on if that's okay. But I just wanted to say thank you so much. It's so lovely to have students coming along and telling us how they've been using it and how it's been helpful to them. I think it's so important for us to kind of to remember kind of who we're trying to help here. We use it for ourselves, but we're using it to try and educate students as well. And including you in these sessions, I think is absolutely key. So I just wanted to say thank you again for taking the time to be here today. You guys are great, so thank you. And yeah, hopefully we'll see you at a future webinar, and we'd love to hear from you again to see kind of how you're using it in the future. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much.